What's up, fight fans? Quick thoughts. Quick thoughts. We've been on this channel. We talk about all types of fighters. I try to talk about everybody across the board, but who's hot is hot and who's not is not, right? We've mentioned Anthony Joshua. Let's talk about Deontay Wilder. What are his strengths and weaknesses? What can he do well? What is his weaknesses? What doesn't he do well? I think that, the new news about the British invasion, and, that's what I call it at least, with Eddie Hearns with the $1 billion offer, and Wilder was actually one of the pioneers of the guys that spoke out against Eddie Hearns. And compared Eddie Hearns to like a plantation owner, and this is slave wages and stuff like that. You know what I mean? He is the one that planted that persona, for other people and for the public and for his fans. Okay. So the reason why a lot of Wilder's fans are butthurt about Eddie Hearns is because of Deontay Wilder. Make no mistake about it. His fans that follow him follow what he says, follows his doctrine. You know what I mean? And that's his doctrine, that Eddie Hearns, takes money out of the black fighter's pocket, i.e. Anthony Joshua and Danny Jacobs, some of the best fighters in the world right now, right? So, but Danny Jacobs will tell you, along with Anthony Joshua, that, hey, we're making M's. What did Danny Jacobs tell Jamal Charlo in their discussion, their debate, their debacle, behind the dressing room of a major fight, that he's making M's. People that don't know what that means is Danny Jacobs was telling Jamal Charlo, since Jamal Charlo is an Al Haymon fighter, okay, and he's an Eddie Hearns fighter, he was telling him that I'm making millions. That's what M's mean, guy. Hey, I'm getting M's. What are you making? You haven't got an M yet. He's meaning you haven't made $1 million yet. So he was actually talking about the business side of the spectrum, on who's the A side, who's the B side, who's getting paid more, which, you can look at that 2 or 3 different ways. If we were only looking at that on a business standpoint of someone bragging to another fighter or informing another guy like, hey, I'm doing this. But I don't think it was the most tasteful thing to talk about money when you're talking about a guy that's trying to get a fight with you. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the main factor in play. But this is prize fighting, so we have to be realistic about all spectrums, right? So, for Jamal Charlo, I can understand his argument. I want to fight. I'm at the middleweight division. I want to fight, right? Danny Jacobs is, no, you don't need a fight with me as of yet. You need to get an M. You need to get your, there's levels to this or whatever. But to go back to Deontay Wilder that started all this whole thing about it, let's think about the business decisions that he's made. This is what this is about. We don't see him on talk shows. We see him self-promoting himself, but it's like, okay, we know you have to promote yourself. We've already established that, right? You have to be a likable guy or a non-likable guy. You have to be famous or infamous. Either way, it's good because you're getting recognition, right? You're getting attention. You know what I mean? Like Floyd Mayweather says, you love me or you hate me. Either way, you're going to watch. Okay, I get that. But it's like, but you have to also have the backing too. So the question is, you ask yourself, what has Al Haymon done for Deontay Wilder? Deontay Wilder, Adrian Broner, these guys is paying homage to Al Haymon and, being loyal to him by sticking with him, being their promoter, right? So, but what has Al Haymon done for Deontay Wilder? That's the question you ask. I mean, is he on talk shows? Well, will he get more than $2 million a fight? You know what I mean? Will his stuff increase? Did it even occur to Deontay Wilder that if Al Heyman and Finkel or whatever, but really Al Heyman, because it was an Al Heyman power move to come up with that $50 million, right? With about a fight that I promised I won't talk about. But if you had that amount of money for someone else, what will he do for him as a fighter? You know, these are the questions that I believe these guys either they think about, but they don't really want to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really want to admit that. It's just something they think, but don't want to come out and discuss. I guess not. They don't want, I guess not to, to save face, not to even discuss that, because of course you've went after and lashed out at this promoter, right? Eddie Hearns, but then your guy hasn't even got you what these other fighters are getting. Now, that's a problem. Anybody that doesn't see that, you got to be nuts. Just on the faith of staying with a guy, just for the faith of staying with him. If you look at if you look at Manny Pacquiao, another guy that stayed with a promoter way too long, right? And it wasn't in his best interest, which was Bob Arum. If you look at that, guys, what did Bob Arum do for Manny Pacquiao, though? You know what I mean? Yeah, he was loyal, but then again, Manny Pacquiao was paid, dude. Manny Pacquiao made 12 million, 20 million, 23 million. He made millions. And Bob Arum negotiated millions for Manny Pacquiao. Okay, so that's a total different scale. So what Manny and Bob did were up here. What Al and Deontay Wilder are doing is way down here. Okay, you see the difference? That's a big chunk. That's a big space of difference. That's like high class versus low class, and you got the shit in the middle, right? So that's what we're dealing with that. So Deontay Wilder and a lot of other fighters, but I'm talking about Deontay. Deontay needs to really realize what Al Heyman is actually doing for him in comparison to what someone else could do, like Eddie Hearn. Because you only see things that, you look at your competition, right? His competition are other fighters. What are other fighters getting? If he's not getting that, he should ask why. That's what I'm saying to you guys. He has good speed, physicality, okay? He has devastating, freakish, one-handed power, physicality, he has will, he has chin. So yeah, he has a heart. That goes back to the desire to win. He's never lost. He could have lost in that Ortiz fight. He didn't lose in that Ortiz fight. He won. Stipulation, I think things would be been different on certain aspects, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his strengths. He was able to take a punch. He was able to be hurt, recuperate, overcome, and win. Okay? So that tells you his desire to win. He will dig deep to win. So that is the strengths. The weaknesses, I feel, is what I just discussed. Okay? So that really discusses the strengths and weaknesses on Deontay Wilder. And one more thing I will mention about Deontay Wilder, if you look at the 3 particular times that the money that he could have got, he didn't get. Let's look at him. $7 million for the Klitschko fight. He turned that down. Fact. He didn't want that fight for whatever reason. He turned it down. Okay. What else? The $12.5 million that he was offered to what. Okay. He turned that down. And like, even those 2 instances, right? These 2 different offers that could have made him a lot of money. If you combine them both, 12.5 and 7 million, that's nearly $20 million. He's only made like 16 his whole career and 40 fights. Okay. So that should tell you something. You know what I mean? That should tell you a lot. So, but I think it's sad to say when people look back at their career, they see the things that they could have done. And it's sad after the fact when you realize it. But I guess it's all in the knowledge of learning, even after, you know, knowing that you made mistakes or whatever. But still, it's one of those things I think you would rather catch before your career's over to make you realize that, hey, I need to change, or I did make a mistake. And it's okay to admit you made a mistake. You know, the problem is when you don't want to admit you made a mistake and you act like an ass and nothing's wrong. And you never realize that you do. That's the sad part about it. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this particular topic, about the loss of money, business-wise, and the business decisions that Deontay Wilder has made. And give me your take on it, because it's all about your feedback. And I appreciate each and one of you guys leaving comments below. Shout out to you guys. Please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.